Whoa, that's power.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a lot of power.
Dad power.
Or like dad, when you're a little kid, you hear dad in the toilet, and just ripping ass. You're like, damn, dude. I got to make sure that you know. Like, you're just saying Reese's ironically. You're just saying Reese's ironically, right? Let's talk about our great nation. No, I'm joking.
Not today, man.
Not today.
Of
dude.
all days.
Not today, not ever, dude. Yeah, they just thought I was like an old creeper. Which, like, I am, but not in that moment.
Kind of missing spicy food. Like, I've been eating too much bland stuff.
Dude, I've got some of that imported Taiwanese goose grease that you can have.
That goose grease is good stuff. It's intense.
I've got like 6 jars of it.
I know. I've seen your collection. I'm kind of jealous.
Just take one. I'm never going to get through it. My ass can't handle it. Please, you'd be helping me out. I really can't.
What do you put it on? Anything and everything?
Pretty much a little bit of everything, yeah. Any kind of meat. It's good with veggies. I mean, that shit's good with everything.
It's like spicy bacon grease, but a goose had to die.
It's literally it. Yeah, it's just hot fat. Hot fat, baby. Tasty. And it tastes good too.
It doesn't do much good for you, but it tastes good.
Yeah, it does a lot good for my tongue. And no other part of my body.
It's a therapeutic for the tongue. Past that, no guarantees.
For every action there is a reaction. They are vicious.
Well, what's the latest on spicy things for you? You eating anything particularly delicious and spicy recently? And
nothing too bad. Nothing that's like blown my head off. Mel got me a new hot sauce, like the Steve-O hot sauce. Steve-O has a hot sauce apparently.
Good for him.
Yeah. I saw him promoting it. I told her, I was like, yeah, Steve-O was promoting his hot sauce. Do you know how he promoted his hot sauce? He just put a bunch of it in his eye.
Oh, was that on Hot Ones?
I think he was doing it like he was doing a tour of just putting sauce in his eye.
Because I remember
he probably did.
I thought he was on Hot Ones and he just poured hot sauce in his eye.
Probably. I mean, Steve-O, he's crazy.
And then I guess that was inspiration to just make his own hot sauce.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Tailored to his eyes.
Yeah. It's very effective because she bought it. After I told her that, she went out and bought it for me. And then I remember the first time I tried it, I was like, whatever my tongue experience is, like his eye experience.
Tenfold.
And it's like a habanero hot sauce. It's definitely, he made it tolerable. You got to be able to handle some heat, but it's not like a ridiculous amount.
Okay.
Capsaicin.
So it's accessible.
Yeah, right. Just not for your eye.
You got to give the man credit for committing to the bit.
For the longest time, I thought, because he had this whole arc, right, where he was like a completely drug addict.
He was deeply
degenerate.
fucked up for a while.
Yeah, all this shit, and then like he got clean, or he was in the process of getting clean, going to rehab, and I thought, certainly now he won't be doing crazy shit. That was just the drugs. No, dude, he's gone twice.
The craziness was in him all along.
He's doubled down on sobriety. He's just a nut. Guy's just he was born for it. So respect.
He's a high-powered mutant.
Yeah. And the hot sauce is good, but no, outside of that, nothing really too bad.
Man, I had this.
Yeah,
I had this
chill.
Knockoff sriracha sauce. It was like warm ketchup.
Ugh.
It was like not literally. It didn't have the flavor of ketchup, which I appreciated because ketchup is not my thing.
Yeah.
But it was like it was sauce, but it had so little impact on the overall flavor profile compared to like the OG sriracha.
Yeah.
I was like, this is so much thickener and so little actual pepper.
Did they advertise it as like a sriracha alternative?
No, it said sriracha is not exclusive to like Hoi Fong Foods or whatever that brand is.
Oh, I guess you're right, huh?
You can put sriracha on whatever.
So sriracha is not like a trademark thing.
I don't think so. I think it's the rooster sauce, the part that's trademarked.
I see. Okay. Because I've seen a lot of... Because, sriracha had Hoi Fong, whatever, had a big shortage of the original sriracha.
They switched pepper suppliers. There was this whole thing about it.
Yeah.
Like, if I recall correctly, they did this really shady switcheroo where their pepper supplier like was an exclusive contract,
Right.
and then they screwed over their pepper supplier, and they went with some other option that was cheaper,
Right.
leaving their, because like if you're in business like long term and you're just like producing a product and selling it to one company and that's like your whole business,
Yeah, all your eggs are in that one basket.
all of a sudden they bail on you. All of a
Yeah,
sudden
you're
like,
SOL.
oh, okay, well we better find somebody to sell to or else we're shit out of luck.
Right.
So that put that farmer through some.
Who knows, man? Maybe the farmer was raising the prices of the peppers. Maybe he was trying to stiff him, like, you need us.
I don't know. I didn't. That wasn't the impression I got. I'm not an expert on these things, but the general impression that I got was like definitely a negative ding on Weifang Foods for what they did.
But I mean, yeah, they might have done some nasty business with the guy. But I will say, I have yet to find a solid sriracha alternative. They all suck. Everyone I've tried.
Like even the original is not what it used to be, right?
I haven't tried. I don't think I've even tried the original since they switched, because once the shortage happened, I just stopped looking for it. It was so hard to find. Actually, I take that back. Mel and I we at one point when it was at the peak of the shortage, we would seek out like restaurants that had it.
Yeah, but restaurants can put anything in a bottle, and if it looks right, you'll you know.
That, I guess that's true. They'd have to go at some length to do that a bit.
I mean, it is a pretty specific like look.
There's just so many alternatives that I've tried and that she's tried where it's just like it's not even close. There's like, it might be more than just the pepper too.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I suspect so.
But there's always an off taste, or it's too sweet. It just doesn't taste right. But when you have like OG sricha, it's just it hits different.
I agree. I agree.
I haven't tried the new one though. I wonder how it stacks up. Have you?
I think I've had it. I think it was okay, but it was like, I don't know. I'm not an expert on these things. It was post shortage, and I think they had switched suppliers.
There's also a bit of placebo too.
Yeah,
you're just like
because they can get the consistency right. They can get the flavor profile right. But like the actual pepper itself, like there's something there. That's kind of the X factor.
The DNA has been modified.
Yeah,
you see new sriracha now, you go, you've changed, man.
Not quite a GMO food, but intellectually speaking, you can kind of think of it that way.
Dude, you want to see? We're just gonna kick this off, right, dude? I have to show you this. It's been on my mind all freaking week.
What you got?
Hold on. Just check this shit out, and I'll throw the video up for y'all to see too. Listeners, I will explain.
Nope. Wait. Okay.
Watching it? It's a video of my front yard.
I accidentally swiped one to the left, and I said, oh my. Yeah, bro, I told you, you have wildlife out here. Like, you go outside at night, you got owls hooting like crazy. You got,
for the listeners, that's a bear. That's a full blown brown bear. Brown or black bear?
I would guess black bear.
In my driveway. And guess where he's going? He's beelining straight for the trash cans.
So did your trash cans get molested?
Completely knocked over. He went for the trash can, the actual trash, not the recyclables, because there's jack shit in there. But he knocked it over, and I was at Mel's the whole weekend, so I came, like, he had knocked it over, and I couldn't see it knocked over on the camera, so I just thought, maybe the trash can's fine. It was not fine. I came home, and there was just, like, trash all over my driveway.
Ooh.
I spent, like, 20 minutes cleaning it up. It's pretty brutal.
It's because it's an infrared, you can't really get a good indication of color, but I would say black bear just because if it was a brown bear, it would be about close to double that size, I expect.
Unless it was a little baby.
Possibly.
But maybe the babies
I would say black bear.
Yeah. But I mean, like, yeah, you probably couldn't tell, but like when you crank the volume up on the recording, because I caught it on my surveillance camera.
You hear breathing.
You can hear the breathing, and it's just like such a scary, like, grunt. It's just like
it awakens a deep.
It's a primal reaction that like you know, like I'm never around bears, maybe, unless I'm at the zoo. But you hear that and you go, oh, like the hairs stand up on your back. You're like, I should probably watch out.
Have you ever seen a hairless bear?
No, but that sounds really funny.
It's not as funny as you'd think.
Is it scary?
It's
very terrifying.
It's not friendly looking.
Because I was thinking of like a hairless cat. Those are very funny. They look like a ball sack just running around. Looks like Roger Rabbit.
I think I brought this up before. If anybody can confirm or deny this, I would be interested. But I remember reading something about the etymology of the word bear.
Yeah.
Being that the original, from whatever language you're looking for the most part, I guess in Europe, the original word for bear has been lost because there was a superstition against actually saying that animal's name.
Is Voldemort.
Kind of like that.
The
so
OG
instead of saying it, very much like that, in fact. So instead of saying Voldemort and saying he who must not be named, instead of saying whatever the name was, they said the brown one. And that eventually, that name, the brown one, eventually got turned into through language evolution, got turned into bear.
Right.
And I'd be very interested to see if anybody has sources to confirm or deny that, because I kind of like that. I kind of dig that.
I mean, back in the day when you're just living, you're just a tribe in the woods, like you've seen a bear fuck up some people.
Yeah,
you've definitely seen like a bear will just come into your camp because they smell what's cooking. You don't know to like keep that shit on the DL.
You can't. You have to.
You can't.
You got food. You got to eat.
And then your little teepees aren't gonna fucking survive a bear attack. Like,
imagine camping out in a cave and a bear just kind of walks in like, something smells good in here.
Dude, like ever since watching that video, anytime I come home late at night, I get so paranoid. I like look around because I'm like, if that bear is right there, like I'm gonna flip. I'm gonna freak.
But here's the thing.
Dead.
Black bears.
Yeah, they're more skittish.
And
still
like
still a crazy animal.
I don't disagree, but for the most part, you should be probably less concerned if it's a black bear. Like you can probably just stay in your car.
Do we have grizzlies in California still?
We have grizzlies in California.
I don't know about in these mountains, but
I don't
in these hills.
I don't think you'll find many around here, but like Yosemite, hell yeah.
For sure. Okay. Yeah.
Like California is a big ass state, dude.
Yeah. I don't think we have any grizzlies in this area, so that's good.
Probably not, but there's bears and there's definitely grizzlies, but you got black bears around here.
Black bears are chill.
More black bears. You got
coyotes.
Definitely raccoons.
Saw a mountain lion.
Oh,
did I tell you I saw a mountain lion?
When did you see a mountain lion?
This was earlier this year, maybe late last year. I was actually I had to have been last year because I was doing my hikes. So I was like walking to the hiking trail. It was like probably 6:37 in the morning, and I was just walking on the top street, where it's just on the sidewalk, residential. Yeah. But on the other side of the residential is like hills and stuff. So as I'm walking, there's just a very large cat that I just see in the corner of my eye, just like walk kind of in front of me, like literally like from here to that wall.
So you saw it. That's
right
a good
in front
thing.
of me. Yeah,
That's a good thing.
Yes, right. And it was in front of me, not behind me. So that was good. Yeah, exactly. So it just started walking across, and it took me a minute. At first I thought it's a cat because it has like a cat shape, but then it was large, so I thought it's a dog or a coyote.
That's why they call them big cats.
And then I was like, no, what is that? It's not a cat and it's not a dog. Holy crap, that's a mountain lion. And it just kind of like looked at me and then just like kept going across the street. It was just like peacing out. I had just caught it, in a moment of who knows what it was up to. Probably no good. Probably hanging out with that bear. And as I was walking towards it and just like kind of in shock, there was a car driving towards me, and the car just caught a glimpse of it too. And it was like a lady, and she looked at me. We both acknowledged that we had both seen it, and she just like made this face like like that was a mountain lion. I was like, yes, wildlife. Yeah. But I mean, it was a big cat. It was a big cat, and being an owner of two small cats, and knowing the damage that they can do.
Times 10.
That, oh my God. I got.
Yeah.
It was a brush with death.
Dude, coming in close proximity with an actual legitimate predator, without having glass or something in between you and them.
Oh man.
It gets your blood pumping, man.
It really does. It really does. Unless it's like cuz I did when I was in Thailand, years ago, we saw tigers and stuff.
Yeah.
Where like it's Thailand, so they just let you in with the tigers.
Do they?
They do, but the rumor is.
Are you driving through like a tiger hangout, or
no?
You're like,
it's just a place you go to, like a business, and it's like
a petting zoo with tigers.
It's a tiger petting zoo, and so like it's crazy. Like you can buy we bought like a package where like you can hang out with like the cubs for a little bit for like 15 minutes. Tiger cubs.
Okay, that sounds fun.
Super cute.
As long as you don't lose a finger.
You get to feed them a bottle, which is super cool. And then like 15 minutes with the big dog. And so you just go out, like they have these huge metal cages. They just let you in. There's obviously like a dude there with you in case the tiger freaks out. But, as they say, like the tigers are sedated. Like they drug them or whatever. So there's some ethical concerns or whatever. I just went. I was like, this sounds cool. You could never do this in America. Like the lawsuits would never hold up. So, but you're just like literally next to, almost sitting on this giant beast, and you've never been so close to such a
and it's just
volumed
up to the gills.
Thank God. I was like, how? My ex at the time was like, oh, I think they drug him. I was like, I hope so.
Right.
I hope it's strong enough.
Yeah.
Good God. And like
they feed him a lot, right?
You're next to this beast. What's that?
They feed him regular.
They feed him. Yeah, right. It's like he ain't hungry, hopefully. And you're just next to this giant beast, and you just like, it's breathing heavy, and it's like, it kind of like sounds like you're like when you were a kid and you would hear your dad snore. You're like, that's a big animal. You could never imagine how a being could be that loud.
Like in terms of size. No, I get what you're talking about.
Yes. Yeah.
When you're like,
it's intimidating.
That small of a child, and you hear like a big mammal breathing, you're like, whoa,
that's power.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a lot of power.
Like dad power.
Or like dad, when you're a little kid and you hear dad in the toilet and you just ripping ass, you're like, damn, dude. That dude could destroy a civilization.
Having the experience of being an adult and meeting an animal, and you're like, that's dad power, but with like claws and teeth and shit.
Right. That's like an abusive dad. Thankfully, it's not a dad I ever had, but it's someone's dad. And you don't always want someone's dad.
Oh, man.
But they are to be feared. And
okay,
respected.
so black bears, coyotes, shitload of owls. Rats, not that special. Raccoons, possums, also pretty common.
Oh, did you hear about that squirrel?
It's
all over the news.
There's a squirrel that's making the news.
Yeah.
Did somebody teach it a special trick or what?
I don't know if it was California. Somewhere this guy had a pet squirrel. It must have been, and then it's illegal where he lives to have a pet squirrel. So
I did hear about this, not through the internet, but somebody was telling me.
The cops basically raided his house and took his squirrel and killed it.
Yeah, I did actually hear about that.
It went mega viral because, like, how fucked up do you have to be to, like, kill some dude's squirrel? It's so fucked up. It's so funny.
I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
It's like, do the cops really have nothing better to do? They're like, I hear there's a squirrel at 352 Wilson Street. We should probably check it out.
I mean, what kind of damage?
Put it down.
Like, okay, if you go, because I remember my friend was telling me about this actually, and I was like, okay, I don't understand that at all. That's just a dickhead move, because if you have a bear, for example, they're wild animals, and they're meant to be wild animals. And if you interfere with their wild animal behavior and programming by interacting with them and giving them food,
right,
you basically break their algorithm.
Yeah.
So that's that, and they get put down. So like when you have black bears or grizzlies or whatever that become accustomed to human presence, they start getting used to human food.
They get bold.
And they get bold. They get very bold and dangerous.
Yeah.
Not necessarily because they're just like, I want to eat humans, but like that human is too near the food that I want to eat, so I'm going to damage them till they go away, whatever.
Yeah.
But they become called problem bears, I think.
Yeah.
And that's a really a well-established example of why you shouldn't screw around with wild animals in terms of just like, oh, I'm going to feed a bear because
right.
for the upvotes or whatever.
Yeah. I guess that was like the cops their argument for euthanizing the squirrel was like, because it had been a pet for so long, it wouldn't even know how to survive in the wild if you released it.
Okay.
But then at that point, it's just like, well, then, like, what do you fucking care? Just
release it into the wild.
Release
something will eat it, and that's nature doing its job.
At least it'll probably live a few extra days than if you just kill it now and give it zero chance.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Let him figure it out.
I don't know.
Let him figure it out. Don't hold his hand.
So like here's the thing. Like
to death
in California, as ferrets are illegal, right?
Yeah.
And
I never understood that.
I think it's because they would be an invasive species.
Oh, okay.
Where
if you bred them,
like or if enough of them get out, then they start breeding in the wild.
They do look like they're good at getting out of things.
Oh yeah,
they're very squirrely.
What makes something an invasive species is it will outcompete the native wildlife and disrupt the ecosystem.
I get that.
So if somebody in California had a pet parrot and
somehow you named a real other animal, another real animal by switching them by dyslexia.
I have a parrot named Boba Fett.
Boba Fett. Nice.
Pet ferret.
Ferret.
There's no realistic, you should release it into the wild. Like there's no place for it in the wild out here.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. It's illegal
right.
and you shouldn't have it. So it gets euthanized. Like, okay, maybe you could find a place to ship it off to where it actually belongs in the ecosystem and it gets rescued and blah, blah, blah. That would be a happy story. But
right.
A squirrel, I don't get it.
It seems so innocuous. It just seems like who cares?
That's why if I was going to have
an alligator
pet, I would have a pet crow.
Crows are cool.
Crows are hella cool. Plus,
I don't like birds in general, but crows I would say are probably at the top of my list for birds.
Well, it's
S-tier bird.
It seems like a crow is almost like an outdoors only cat that can fly.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, in terms of like, being fairly self-sufficient, low maintenance.
Yeah.
But intelligent and fun to play with.
Yeah. It would be sick if you had a pet crow that just hung out outside, but you could just summon it anytime. Like you're just like, in a crowded space, like you're at a music festival, you're like, oh, that's my crow. Like, yeah, fuck you, dude. And then you just like, and then you just call it and it just lands on your fucking arm. And everyone's like, what the fuck, dude? It's like, yeah, it's my crow.
That would be awesome.
That would be super sick. You're like, I am the Batman.
especially if it was like, because I would love to have a pet, but I just don't like, if I was going to have a pet, I would want to have a pet that I can have enough time to like spend with it so it's not neglected.
Yeah.
And I feel like a crow would be a really good compromise because it's
independent.
Yeah. If it was like a wild crow that got injured and I nursed it back to health and so it had sort of a bond, it would be like, oh, hey, I see you. Let's hang out. But if I'm not around, it's not a problem. It's just going to go do crow things and be a crow.
Yeah, it's like
and it's not going to be feel neglected because it has other crows to hang out with.
It's like a young, it's like an early teenager. It's like it can do with or without you.
Yeah,
it's like just on the cusp of before mom and dad stop becoming cool, but still kind of you're kind of like sussed out by him. You're like,
but you can still hang out and have fun together.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's like a 12-year-old. Crows are basically 12-year-olds.
That's a good one because once they turn 13, they're embarrassed of you.
Yeah, they're like, drop me off at the corner. Don't pull up to.
Exactly.
Oh, man, that's gotta be so hard as a parent. Just like, oh, this thing that I love so much, I care. It's like if my cats just suddenly hated me, and you're just like, no, fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
And they just started like pissing on everything, and just like
that's got to be pretty brutal, man.
God, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine my cats doing that to me, let alone like a human being.
But it's the circle of life. It's part of human development to go through that, and it's like
it's kind of a boomerang. Like they come back.
Yeah.
Unless they're totally fucked up.
Or you're totally fucked up.
I mean, if they are, then you probably are.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair.
But yeah. I would like to have a pet crow, but that is also illegal. So
What's your top forbidden
But I feel
pet?
like it would be
Crow?
easier to get. The reason I brought it up is I feel like it would be easier to get away with it if you had a not necessarily pet crow, but like a crow that you had bonded with.
Yeah.
Because like they can't raid you and like as long as you stay outdoors with it, it's just if some people come and try to enforce crow law on you or bird law, shout out
Jim Crow law.
if some bird enforcers come up, then it just flies away, and you're like, oh yeah, it's just a crow that I feed.
Right.
They can't you know pin it on you that no, you're violating this bird.
I can't help it if the crows love me.
Yeah.
I'm a crows man.
Exactly.
That's true. That's a good cover. That's a real good cover.
But yeah, I feel bad for the dude who lost his pet squirrel.
Yeah, that is kind of sad. That is kind of sad. I thought there was another pet that he had too, but maybe it was just a squirrel.
I think it was there was multiple in that situation, but I don't have any firsthand.
Yeah,
it's all second or
I could see
third
myself getting attached to the squirrel because they're everywhere. I mean, in California, like in LA, they're everywhere. You know what I mean? Like I have like regular squirrels in my backyard. Mm-hmm. If one of them just like befriended me and just like started getting close, like we got close, I could see myself like, first it probably just starts out where it's like you just leave some food out for him. And then like one day you like accidentally leave the back door open, you see him in your living room, you're like, hey, what are you doing here? And then you kind of he's like, oh, he's actually pretty chill. And you're like, just because this squirrel was like all over this dude. This squirrel was like in love with his owner. Like he would like just run up on his arm and just like
hang out on
just
his shoulder
hang out, just like felt safe with him.
Yeah.
It's like a full blown pet, like a full blown, just as much affection as a dog or a cat. So like, that'd be brutal. I wonder the feds just busted in my door and just killed both my cats. I'm like, oh my God, no.
I've thought about having a pet rat before, but
yeah,
there's a lot of upsides, but the biggest downside is they have a very short lifespan. And I was like,
yeah, I
wonder if there's been an effort to breed a longer lived rat,
right?
And like if they were able to breed rats that pet rats that live 6 to 9 years, I'd be like, I could go in for that. They're just not made. They're just not made for longevity, though.
But what's weird is like because pet rats, I would say, are probably not as popular of a pet as like rabbits, like bunnies. Like bunnies, like because
I think they're born. I think
because bunnies are adorable. A rat is like there's a connotation.
I won't
with
argue with that.
There's a connotation with a rat, but a bunny is adorable, but also does not live long at all. I mean, that's probably why they fuck like rabbits, right? Because they just they don't got much time.
Yeah.
So
they're also very ephemeral. In terms of lifespan.
Yes, exactly. And so my family had a few rabbits. We had like 3 rabbits at different times. Some overlap, but we didn't really know. And then like we kind of like, oh, these things don't live very long. And sure enough, they just like dropped off. Actually, 2 of them got fucked up. One fell in the pool, drowned. Oh. The other one was mauled by a coyote or some wild animal in the backyard. Oh. And then the first one was the first one we ever had. That one just was natural causes. We like came home one day from like, I don't know, dinner or something, and just like rabbit was just like breathing funny and then just like breathing really fast and then just died. And like we were all just huddled around it and we're all just like bawling our eyes out. And I was like, why would anyone ever have this as a pet? This is horrible. It's like because they're so cute. It's like you want like I want one of those all the time. I want this to be part of my life. And you're like, oh, it lives for like 2-3 years and then it's gone. Like it's just enough time to really fall in love with something, right. And then it's just like peace out. It's like it's like God's punishment to Karens because it's the perfect Karen pet.
I had pet hamsters growing up.
I had one too. Yeah,
that was pretty much the same thing. The main reason why I was like kind of sold on the whole rat idea was because they're very intelligent.
Yes,
and hamsters they're cute and they can you can get them to be cuddly sometimes, but there's not a whole lot of interaction outside of that.
It's like a crow versus a parakeet.
Yeah, or a finch.
Oh yeah, finch. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, I would say that's probably a closer intelligence comparison. I don't know.
True,
but I just don't have time to be consistent in spending time with a pet, and I end up traveling too often to be like I'm okay with having a pet that I can have someone else take care of or whatever.
Right. You're too busy watching my pets when I'm gone.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Which I till this day am so appreciative of, because I mean, I have to travel, or I go on trips here and there, more often than the average person, and you've been awesome.
I have a 100% success rate of mostly being an awesome cat sitter, except I think I overfed him a couple of times.
That's all right. They're
used to it.
They are used to it. They're not complaining. They're not filing any grievances.
I think the last time I took care of them, I might have underfed them a little bit, but
they need it. Like, it's almost like if you overfeed them or underfeed them,
they reach some kind of equilibrium.
Can't go wrong. They're practically healthy weight now.
That's actually impressive.
They're practically healthy weight. They were overweight for most of their lives, morbidly obese for most of their lives, and now they're finally at a fairly healthy weight.
I saw some picture of the chart at the vet's office of the top down view and then side view of cats, and chunk
different weights,
weight
classes,
like underweight to
obese
normal to obese
to Garfield.
And someone had a photo of just like a vet showing a cat the chart and pointing at the high end of morbidly obese. And the part that made it really funny was just the cat's expression was like, "How dare you? This is an affront to my dignity."
Insulted. This is the last time I come here.
Yeah, terrible service.
I will poop on your doormat.
Oh, have you seen the veterinarians who they had this if you look up how to handle a fractious cat.
Fractious?
It's a fun word. Fractious.
What's that?
It means really pissed off.
Okay.
And nigh uncontrollable.
Yeah.
But they had an actual human being playing the role of the cat.
Nice.
And they nailed it.
Yeah.
They just utterly nailed it.
That
one's pretty old. It's worth a watch. And recently I ran into one that was vets playing different breeds of dogs.
Yeah.
And how they behave.
Yeah.
So
the vets are acting it out?
Yes.
That's pretty
cool. Kind
of
like stereotypical Chihuahua behavior, which is just just
right,
trying to bite
tough
everything.
Guy, yeah.
Or I don't know, Labrador just chilling, wanting to get love.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's just humans doing it, and
that's great.
But they have some acting chops. I got to give it to them.
That's awesome.
It's fun.
I like that.
But I feel like it's time for a new topic. We've talked about a lot of animals.
Enough about dead squirrels, dude.
That's what kicked all this off. It kicked off with a bear, and then we went to dead squirrels, and then it was all over the place.
Let's talk about our great nation. No, I'm joking.
Not today, man.
Not today,
of
dude.
all days.
Not today, not ever, dude. Oh man. Let's see what else is going on.
I had a PSA from last week that I wanted to get.
That's
to.
right. Oh, we got. I think so. Last week we told you guys to comment the number 1, if you wanted to hear a PSA from Ian about pantry moths.
Was there no demand for such a PSA?
There was demand.
Was there?
There was demand. There were a number of ones in the comments. I didn't count them. I think we hit 10. If not, it was very close. So you have the floor.
Oh, goody. Okay, so here's the deal. Pantry moths are malicious and insidious little bastards, and you may have noticed there's these little brown fluttery things that pop up in your face sometimes. And you're like, get the hell out of the way, or they'll get in front of the TV screen, or they'll be, just hanging out, and you're like, why are these? They're little itty bitty moths. They're just all over the. Like, why are they always in my grill?
Yeah.
Well, they're ruining your food. They like to hitchhike in, and you buy 5 pounds of rice, or
are those the
cereal,
or are those the same bugs that are always in rice?
Are you talking about weevils?
Okay, those are rice weevils. All right.
Well, there's weevils. Weevils get into all kinds of stuff, but they don't fly typically.
Okay, gotcha.
Or ever, as far as I know. But pantry moths, also known as Indian meal moths, what you'll notice, especially if they're intense, is you'll get these like cobwebs inside of containers of food. So like, for example, pasta, oatmeal, nuts, like they'll go through plastic containers. Like if you have some stuff in a plastic bag, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
Basically what usually ends up happening is they'll hitchhike in, you'll buy something that has some Pantry Moth eggs, and you'll never know it. That you just usual grocery trip, and then weeks or months later, you start noticing these little moth bastards all over the place, and they will ruin your stuff. Like I remember, we had a plastic bag of hazelnuts, and it got infested, and it nobody noticed because it was like behind some stuff, but it had cobwebs in it. You could see like holes burrowed through the hazelnuts and stuff. And my dad was indulging in some midnight snacking, and he happened to get into the hazelnuts, and he was and a few days later he was like, I think the hazelnuts are bad or something. I was eating some the other day. They tasted off, and we looked at the hazelnut bag, and it was just like it had like, you know, shed like not exoskeletons. It had when larvae molt. Just like skin. Leftover little
Old
larva
skin.
Shells and cobwebs, and it was just a whole nastiness thing. So Pantry moths they'll just infest your food, and they're a little bit like the bed bugs of the pantry because they're persistent. Like you think you wiped them out, but like there's some eggs hidden, and a few weeks later they hatch, and then you're back at it again.
I hope your PSA informs us how to never have to deal with this.
Well, at some point in your life, you probably will have to deal with it, but the PSA is about how to deal with it. And based on personal experience, the first thing to do is just get some pantry moth traps.
Yeah.
They're cheap. They're on Amazon. There's a bunch of options, but basically it's just a fancy glue trap. And the fancy part is they put a little bit of estrogen in the glue.
Little bait.
Yes. So the estrogen being an attractant for the male moths. So they get all horned up. They go in, get stuck to the glue, and they don't get a chance to knock up any of the female moths. And that's effective, especially for like if you have a low key, like you're just trying to keep things down. I think you actually may be completely rid because that trap has been up for a couple weeks and it's not got a single occupant.
Yeah, it's clean.
So that's a good sign. Another month or two, and I would give you a clean bill of health. But that's step one, is have some traps. You want to put them in places where there's some airflow. Like you don't want to just jam them in the corner somewhere. So I like to put them on top of the fridge. If there's a decent amount of like airspace there, because usually you have a little bit of moving air, so you'll have.
So they can pick up the scent, right?
Exactly, because you'll have warm air coming up from behind the fridge and then going past the trap and carrying that baited scent out into the open. And then if it's really bad and you have a lot of food that you're like, I don't want this to get ruined potentially, you basically have to take everything and try to put it in glass containers with metal lids and start cycling everything through the freezer, like deep freeze this stuff. And you can look up the specifics.
Wait, what are you deep freezing?
You're like, you have a whole container of rice or whatever.
Oh, gotcha.
That goes in the freezer.
They can get through. Why not like a plastic Tupperware or something?
Because you put it in a glass container with a metal lid so that it can't get infested in the first place. In case there's some eggs in there, you put it in the freezer. And spending enough time at very good temperatures well below freezing will destroy the eggs or whatever stage of life they're in.
But you're saying that they could still get through like a plastic, sturdy Tupperware.
Potentially, yes.
That's crazy.
They're insidious.
Yeah.
So once you have your food stuff and it's gone through the freezer, you keep it in a glass jar with a metal lid so that it doesn't get reinfested.
Yeah.
And then the thing that made that made me go, hey, I want to do a PSA on this because I thought it was really cool. Same way that I did a similar thing for bed bugs.
Right.
Was
this is a little ongoing series we have. Ian's critter tips.
Because I don't like pests, man.
No, dude.
So there
Ian's
is
pest control.
There is a product out there which is a elegant form of biological warfare. You can get trichogramma eggs, and they are little itty bitty wasps. It's a parasitic wasp that preys on the larvae of pantry moths.
So you just bring more bugs into your house?
Yeah, but they're not bugs that are gonna bother you. And once their food source is gone, then they're not gonna be able to hang around.
So they just die after.
Yeah. So it's basically like a targeted weapon. It's specific. It's like what's that? There was a woman who swallowed a fly, and then she swallowed a frog to catch the fly, and then that whole thing is
it's like buying a cat to get rid of the mouse in your house.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
But that's not always the best option. But in this case, it seems to be a very good option because it's just a predator specifically tailored to getting rid of pantry moths. And then once the prey population is gone, then the predator dies out, and you have won the war.
Gone. Yeah.
So
damn.
Because with the exception of place where I grew up until I was like 8 or 10, I've found pantry moths every place I've ever lived.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're pretty universal.
I didn't fully understand them until maybe a good 5 to 8 years ago. But there's just ubiquitous, and they can really, especially if you don't know that they're around and you have a lot of food is expensive. If you have a decent stocked pantry and you have an infestation, they can just ruin almost all your food.
Yeah.
So yeah, be alert, and don't sleep on it. Get. It's not hard. It's so easy to just buy traps and you fold them up.
Yeah.
And put them out. Like,
it's good advice.
Yeah.
It is funny how the number one defense is just don't let them have sex.
Yeah. Exactly. That's
just birth control.
And yeah, exactly.
Wrap it up, you guys.
Wrap up those bug boners.
Wrap up those bug boners.
But yeah. So I have a special dislike for true pests like bed bugs and pantry moths, and so
nice.
I like to spread the word on awareness and countermeasures.
Man, I wish there were traps like that for spiders and
crabs.
Crabs I'm okay with. I'm a crab survivor. Crab's got nothing on this.
If I had ever had crabs, I probably would have a whole PSA about it, but it's not been an issue.
I'd have some DIY traps and just lingering in my pubes, dude, just hanging out.
Turns out if you get get pubic dreadlocks,
yeah,
it doesn't. I don't know.
Oh, I thought there was going to be some science behind.
I was like, what's the dumbest thing that you can do with your pubes? Have dreadlocks.
It's a good thing I'm growing mine out already.
I don't surf, but my dong does.
I had this idea. I pitched it to Mel where it's like, dude, what if I made an OnlyFans, but it's just photos of my dick, close-up photos of my dick, but it's all thematic. So one's he's in a cowboy hat.
One guy.
He's in assless chaps.
That one guy already did it, man.
Oh, really?
I remember I was
on
telling you about
OnlyFans?
the penis museum.
Okay. Oh, yeah. But that's not on OnlyFans.
It's on Netflix.
If
you want to see a picture of a penis in a cowboy hat, you just fire up Netflix.
I'm going with social media on this one. Going with the new media.
All right.
I'm going to charge.
If your genitals are that photogenic and versatile, and can really pull off the cowboy look.
Yes.
Full speed ahead, my
well,
friend.
he's gonna be it's gonna be cock cosplay. It's gonna be called coxplay. I just came up with that. I just came up with that right now.
Obviously, you have to have a coxswain outfit.
Coxswain?
Yeah.
What's that?
It's some sort of sailor position.
Oh, a sailor position. Oh.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. That's how it's written. That's how I mentally pronounce it.
Captain Coxswain, reporting for duty.
Coxswain.
Coxswain
is just when it's big and sways.
Dude, Jedi cock. Fucking what's his name?
Dark helmet.
Obi Kenobi. Doc. Just with his hood, with Jedi hood and a little lightsaber. I think it would take off. But is that exactly like what he was doing at the Cock Museum?
Pretty in a very similar vein. Eventually,
I'd elevate it.
Had his entire
mine would be real
penis tattooed with stars and stripes.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, okay, it's coming back to me.
Which kind of limits the cosplay options.
I was gonna say yeah. Then you're only Republican.
Then,
dick.
if you want a conquistador cock, then
no,
doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of.
It has to be a neutral base,
right,
for the costume to work.
He sort of pigeonholed himself there.
Yeah,
back into a corner, little cock corner.
He really wanted to be in that penis museum.
Yeah, and he made it.
I don't know that he did.
Maybe he didn't. That's so funny. He didn't even achieve his dreams. Tattooed your dick. Didn't even make it. You do anything for Halloween?
No, I did absolutely nothing, and I loved it.
Yeah, same. I
ate some. It
was on a Thursday.
Reese's peanut butter cups.
Reese's.
Yeah.
Gotta love them Reese's.
Yeah. I'm just gonna own it. I'm gonna call them Reese's, and you gotta deal with it.
You know it's Reese's though, right? I got to make sure that you know. Like you're just saying Reese's ironically. You're just saying Reese's ironically, right?
I'm just saying it because that's what sounds right to me.
It's got to be Reese's. Okay. Based off of no other information, my mind says it has to be Reese's because Reese's rhymes with pieces.
That's pretty logical, yeah.
We're like,
But
how many pieces of candy would you like?
How many? Okay, but the cups came way before the pieces.
But I mean, obviously, they'd still want it to rhyme.
Yeah,
regardless of
time. But I started pronouncing it.
Yeah, before that
pieces
hint
existed.
Before that giant hint that it's Reese's.
Exactly.
Okay, fair. And you caught on to that, and you're like, I'm still going Reese's.
I found a few that were like extra jumbo size, like weird pumpkin shape, but whatever. They were delicious.
Pumpkin shape. Oh, Reese's.
Yeah.
Nice.
Or like ghost shaped. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. They were a weird shape, and I ate them, and they tasted good.
Yeah. I mean,
that's what I did for Halloween.
That's probably the best thing about the holidays. Is it like the candies get bigger and into more fun shapes?
My favorite is when they make the dark chocolate ones.
Ooh yeah, yeah.
Because
I love dark chocolate.
They make those, and they make them like this little the slim configuration.
Yeah.
And then I throw those in the freezer.
Right.
Oh,
bomb diggity.
So good.
That's what I love about Easter is like you get the bunny shaped Reese's. Those are really good because they're like
they make an actual bunny shape. Because I thought you were gonna say egg shaped.
Sorry, it's an egg shape. There's a bunny, I think, on the packaging. That's where I'm getting confused.
Eggs are.
And I'm also thinking of
eggs are this whole thing.
I'm thinking of like the chocolate bunny because on Easter they'll have chocolate bunnies. I'm getting it all mixed up, dude.
Are they
blurred up?
I never got a chocolate bunny. Are they hollow or are they solid?
They're hollow. They're hollow. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure there are some out there that are based and completely solid, but I think for the most part they're shrinkflation, dude. Before you know it, you just get an ear, a bunny, you get a lucky rabbit's foot of chocolate, dude.
I don't know. I feel like they should fill them with something.
Cum.
I don't think that you're allowed to sell that especially to children.
That's why it's trick or treat, dude.
But to anyone,
where's your Halloween spirit?
Not inside of a hollow rabbit. That's not where I keep my Halloween spirit.
Yeah, that's fair, dude. I saw the most Halloween spirit over Halloween weekend. I was at Mel's place. We were walking our dogs around a neighborhood, and it was like, you know, like it was like 1 a.m. So we're walking our dogs, we're like expecting nothing, like just gonna be us. And like I hear like music, and so of course I'm just like, let's check it out. Let's go crash the party. And it's a Halloween party. We come up and it's just like a call because LMU she lives near there.
Yeah.
And so huge fucking college party. There's a bunch of just like degenerate fucking college kids, just all of them. Every single one's dressed up as, you know, in costume. And just like tons of sluts just running around in the middle of this residential neighborhood. It's fucking crazy. And then like there's just like this guy who's like Hercules or some shit. He's like topless. Like he doesn't have a shirt on. Fucking jacked ass motherfucker. Okay. He's got like a six pack, and he just sees like we walk through it because I'm like I want to walk through it. For me, it was like I'm an old man taking a tour. You know, it's like this is how the youth live. And so I'm like we're walking these dogs, and they're cute little like multi-poos or whatever. And this guy's just jacked as fuck, smashed off his ass. He's just like, oh, can I pet him? Can I pet him? And I'm like, no, he has AIDS. The guy was just like, oh, that's cool. Oh, I've got AIDS too, like whatever. And then we're just like walking through, and it was just like the classic. It was like a movie. It was like there was a guy just like two people making out.
You just randomly ran through a Halloween frat party.
Walked through a Halloween frat party, and it was just like, it was so funny. It was just like, whoa, this was me 10 years ago. Like I would have been maybe not here, but I would have been smoking weed somewhere nearby. 100%. But it's just like that's what like it's just like interesting. I felt it made me feel so old. What made me feel even older was the icing on the cake was after we got past the party, just on the block there was a group of chicks that was just like drunk as fuck on the corner of some street, and they were like blah, blah, blah. And I think one of them, like as we passed them, I don't know what was going on. They were making some commotion. I think one of them was probably taking a piss or something, like pulled her pants down or whatever. And then like I was looking back. It was funny because like the dog that I was walking, one of Mel's dogs is blind, like completely blind. So like he stops a lot, and so like I was walking him, and he would stop, and I like look back, but in the dark, it looked like I was just looking at like standing there, looking creepily at the chicks that are probably trying to take a piss with their vag out. And one of the chicks like, keep walking, ow! And then I'm like, what the fuck? And she's like, you were in college once. I was like, what the fuck, dude? Never felt so unnecessarily called out.
How many times did you piss in public in college?
In college, not so much because, a handful of times. But it was mostly at like a drive-through of like a fast food place. It wasn't like.
Wait, you pissed in a drive-through?
Not in a drive-through, but I'd get out and go to a bush. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like nearby in the parking lot.
I'm just imagining like somebody's in the drive-through in front of me, and like the back passenger's door opens and just somebody starts pissing out.
Dude, I remember one time in a drive-through, like the chicks that we were with, they just like got out of the car, but then like just popped a squat in between like the front and the back door were open. So they just popped a squat and literally pissed in the drive-through right next to like 2 inches from the car. You could just see the stream of piss like flowing to the other car behind us. I was like, we got to get the fuck out of here. But I mean, in college, I was mostly just at my place. I was just mostly at the dorm. I didn't really leave.
Yeah,
I just was like,
if you were blessed with an Adonis body, you probably would have been out, flaunting it, right?
No, but I was a hunchback. I was hiding in shame in the clock tower, just like just taking another rip of the gravity bong. Just like, leave me be.
I'm gonna play some Smash.
Yeah. It's time to jerk off and play Crash Bandicoot.
But in a way, she was correct. You were in college once. Like you understood what was going on.
Yeah,
they misread the fact that you were looking back.
Yeah, they just thought I was like an old creeper, which like I am, but not in that moment. I was like, any other time you'd be right.
But I'm just trying to take care of this blind dog. Yeah. So get over yourself.
Yeah. It's like you ain't all that. I know your type. You're a dime a dozen, bitch.
Honestly, if
I was tempted to just call them a bunch of bitches, but then I just immediately imagined them chasing us down, and me and the dogs and Mel just were like, run. I was like, no, I can't. College Kyle definitely would have been like, you're a 2, fuck you.
But then again, you have matured.
Yes, I have. That was glaringly obvious. So those are the lessons. I've gotten old, but I've also gotten so much more mature.
You've gotten wiser.
I'm so mature, bro. No, I'm still so immature.
No, you gotta
standards.
Like, here's the thing: is immaturity. There's a lot of stuff that falls under the umbrella of immaturity, and I'm of the opinion that there are many things that could be perceived as immature behavior, but I personally would say if it's just you having fun and you're not insulting or hurting anybody, and it's just behavior that's kind of surprising for somebody of your age, whether it's action that you're taking or just enthusiasm for something, and it makes you happy, fuck the haters.
Yeah. I think that's more of like a superficial perception of maturity.
There is something to be said for immaturity in terms of, there's no trying to whitewash it as this is just somebody who's trying to enjoy something that's associated with more youthful population that they happen to.
Because you could say I'm immature because I like Pokemon cards and airsoft and shit. I'm a 35-year-old man, which granted is pretty lame, but it's
you don't have to talk shit on yourself. You can embrace the fact that you enjoy that. You can accept the fact that
I was joking.
There are those that will look at it and judge you and be like, oh, that's lame. But you know what? It's making you happy. Yeah. And you can afford it. Yeah. You can afford better airsoft and better Pokemon.
Yeah, right.
Than the haters.
It's not immature. Being able to afford hobbies, you bitches.
That's
you
right.
Broke ass immature bitches.
Having a hobby other than smoking weed and playing Call of Duty or Fortnite.
Although I don't know, man. These days I'm looking at some of my heavy hitters, going, maybe I should sell some of these. Take some of the heat off. Times are rough, dude. It's rough out there,
bro. I remember the first time I saw your Pokemon collection. It's grown substantially since then. But even at the time, I was like, hey, so are you treating this like an investment? And you're like, yes, but I'm never going to sell it. I'm like, bro, that's not an investment. Yeah. That's just like, you're determined to take this with you to the grave.
Right. Yeah. No, that's 100% true. But I mean, if I ever fell on super hard times, it wouldn't be out of the question to let go.
You'd sell some trainer cards.
Nah, never the waifus. Can't, dude. Those. They're protected. They're protected under my.
You sell some low level basic, non holographic, super basic ones.
I do have some pretty beat waifus that could go.
Just it's a auction from my waifu harem.
Yes, yeah. It is so funny how like the waifu cards they are more valuable just because.
Are they?
Yes. If like the cuter and creepily enough, the younger the chick on a trainer card, generally speaking, the higher the demand and the more value it has.
Wow.
It's very creepy. It's kind of weird. It's creepy.
So for cards, like what's the threshold for like getting cards, graded?
What do you mean the threshold?
Like would you out of your waifus, are there any of them like potentially worth the money to get them officially?
A couple. I actually sent 2 of them. Actually, two of the 10 cards that I
were
sent
trainer cards and not Pokemon?
Correct. Well, yeah, correct. Yeah, because all the waifus are trainers.
Okay.
So, yes, 2 of them were waifu trainer cards. One was a Misty's Determination, which just happens to be a card that really soared in value after I bought it. I bought it at like a little trade show, and it just completely just quadrupled in price at least. And so I was like, this would be a good one. And then one is another one that Mel bought me actually, and so some sentimental value to that. But it is also like a, decently valuable, like $200-300 or something like that. If it's a
that's so wild
PSA
to
10.
me.
I know, just for I mean, I know that there are cards out there, obviously, like fucking top tier, $250,000. Like the auctions are insane for the really top cards, but even just $100 card, if a card's worth it's a piece of fucking paper. I mean,
right.
But then like I say that and it's like, what's $100 bill? So, but
it's a piece of paper that everybody believes is worth $100.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting to me just how some things the hobbyist things include so many things that actually have like practical or intrinsic value. Like some people will collect stamps, right? Because it's a misprint from 1897.
Yeah.
And it's extremely rare, and there was only 100 of them made because literally some fly got caught in the printing press, and so there's a misprint with a fly.
That exists within Pokemon too, with Pokemon cards.
But stamps have an actual purpose.
Oh yeah,
like you can mail things with them, right? So
sure.
they originally had a function.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's literally things for a game that you don't actually play.
Right.
And
it's with the intention to be a collectible.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much, yeah.
And
like Beanie Babies or any of that shit.
Yeah. So when are Beanie Babies maturing? When is that investment? I
think Beanie Babies went the way of the NFTs, dude. I think they're way down there with their NFT brethren, going one day. Maybe one day we'll get back up there.
In 200 years, those Beanie Babies will be worth some money.
Yes.
But like, well, okay, so if you're like, I'm going to invest in Beanie Babies, now you're committing to like having children so that you can pass them down at least a few generations, so they'll have some value for your descendants.
I mean, if you're not investing them, because you don't want your kids to like throw up on your prize.
Right. Exactly. It's a inheritance thing.
Oh yeah, once they're older, yeah.
Right, but
that's the only thing.
There's so many things that you can buy for hobbies or investments that will actually mature to have some return on investment within your lifetime.
Sure.
I feel like Beanie Babies are not likely to have ROI in your lifetime.
No, I mean
unless there's some kind of
they had their moment.
Unless there somebody releases a genetically modified fungus that eats plastic, and just the world's Beanie Baby supply is targeted and gets decimated. So only, hermetically sealed Beanie Babies survive.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean, also your car, would fall apart because of all the plastic pieces that are eaten up and missing. But I think that was a plot point in the Andromeda strain. There was some pathogen that was like evolving super rapidly, and for a while it was eating rubber or something.
Yeah.
But that, I think that is an active area of research. Is like we need something to be able to digest and break down plastics. And interestingly, I think there's a fungus or a bacteria already that, because there's so many different types of plastic, the chemistry of them can be quite variable.
Yeah.
But there's, I think, a couple of types of plastic that have already been identified where there's some bacteria or fungus that can actually eat it and break it down into something that's not plastic anymore, and therefore that's a good thing.
Because it becomes like biodegradable after that?
Pretty much, yeah. So, and the most notable in my mind being polystyrene, which is funny because like polystyrene is, foam.
Styrene? Sounds Jewish.
Does it really? It doesn't end in a stein.
Oh, I thought you said styrene. I was close. Very close.
Polystyrene is like, packing foam.
Yeah.
But it's also the plastic that CD cases are made out of.
Ah.
Nice. It's just how it depends on how you make it, how it turns out. But it's the same plastic.
Great for racking up lines of Coke on. It's a solid plastic.
I actually
good times with that plastic now.
Fun story. I actually made a hologram for a high school crush. It was like a hand drawn hologram of a heart made on a. There's this technique for making holograms by making a pattern of scratches in the surface of something. Have you ever looked at the hood of your car, and you can see like scratches on your clear coat from when like somebody wiped it with like a dirty towel or whatever? Mm-hmm. Like you actually can see a handprint kind of visible, like not your car necessarily, but just like you can look at a car on a sunny day and see like a handprint.
Yeah.
And then depending on how you move, it actually looks like it's a hologram, like it's either above or below the surface of the paint, and it actually looks like it has.
I don't think I've ever seen that, but okay. Yeah, I'm with you.
There's this. I used to read this website pretty frequently. It was like, back in the days when you could have a website where it was like it has elements of a blog and has elements of like a discussion board and like a news feed, and like it was an old timey website. It was
right.
Bill Beatty.
Okay.
It was amasci.org. Anyway, I was in high school and I saw this thing on how you can make basically hand-drawn holograms.
Yeah.
And
on a CD case or what?
The kind of proof of concept was like, hey, let's look at this car hood. You see this handprint from somebody wiping it with, a rag that had like little scratchy pieces of dirt. Well, you can actually like try this, when you're walking through a parking lot. Look at a black car or dark blue or whatever kind of car with a glossy paint, and you can see sometimes it's just a pattern of scratches, but it's got like an arc to it.
Yeah.
And because of that, you can actually see that it appears to have like a depth, like it's either floating under or over the actual surface it's on.
Interesting.
And it's an optical phenomenon.
Right.
But I was inspired by that to get like a protractor and make like a heart on the like I used a CD case because just that's what I had.
Right.
And it didn't work that great, but I put a lot of work into it, and I
thought that counts.
Yeah.
Did she receive it well?
I don't think she understood what the fuck it was. I tried to explain it, and I
How old were you?
I think I was 15 or 16. Yeah, probably.
Just old enough to be traumatized by love.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this was high school then?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Did you and we probably knew each other at that point? Maybe just before.
I think it was just before, yeah.
Damn.
I think it was sophomore year.
What chick was it?
It was.
I can bleep it out.
I don't even know. It was Krista Ashlock.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah,
no idea.
But she was like full on high school crush.
Yeah,
and
you have classes with her?
I had like one class, maybe. Yeah,
dude. And isn't it just like when you're in high school, like at that age, it's like. It's the one class you look forward to.
Right?
Every fucking day. You're like, I can't wait for social studies, dude.
Right.
Because fucking Erica Phillips.
I don't even remember
Erica Phillips is going to be there in her slutty little top that she always wears, and I might catch an inch of side boob. This is all I live for.
Side boob in
every
high school,
fucking day.
That was like
God.
Total highlight.
Before girls like realized what they had.
Yeah.
they didn't know how to dress properly. Like, they were still wearing the shirts from last summer.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, oh shit, these got way bigger.
Yeah.
I have not scaled up.
That was man.
It was a feast for everyone's eyes.
High school is such a confusing time.
It was.
And I was more confused than most, just because I was so far behind on my social development.
Right.
It was pretty brutal.
I mean, that's the roughest time to not be to have any kind of like to not be socially adept.
Yeah. Somehow I made it through, thanks to, I think honestly I was lucky in a lot of ways to go to the school that I did, just because there were so many other people who I could connect with, because we had something in common, which was just like, we're different.
Everyone in our school was
not
nerds.
cool.
Everyone at our school was nerds.
There were a few jocks. There were a few cool kids.
Jocks, but like the jocks at the school,
they were a minority.
They were a minority.
Like
most schools, it's the majority. Ours was like, no, you're cool if you're like the A+ student.
Yeah,
like that's what the majority aspired to.
Right.
Not like the quarterback.
Right.
No one knew the quarterback's name. Like, what? We have a football team? Like, what? That doesn't get you into anything.
That football team was not
no.
winning, just bringing
we can't
many major
we
trophies.
Can't be good at everything. but yeah, I mean, you did luck out in that way.
Yeah.
To go to like a completely neurodivergent school.
It was looking back, it could have been so much worse.
Dude.
If I had gone to
just a normal ass basic.
If I had gone to a normal ass high school, I think it would have gone.
Did you go?
More poorly.
Did you go to our high school because your parents knew that it was a good high school? Or
Yeah.
it was just,
no,
okay.
It wasn't my idea. They were like, "Oh, we're not putting you in this shitty ass high school down the street." It would have been like a 10-minute walk.
Yeah, right.
I could have walked there 10 minutes every day, but they were like, "Nah, we're putting you in here because this is a good school."
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't really want to, but what choice do I have? So
thank God though.
That was exactly, because
a good call.
I've said it before. Despite my best efforts, I actually got a pretty good high school like a very above average high school education.
Definitely. Like same. Like we were fortunate to go to a pretty academically acclaimed high school, which at the time I was just like, I didn't really appreciate it. But the second I got to college is really when it hit me, because I was like, this is so easy.
Yeah.
Every class at our high school was 10 times harder and a lot more work than any of this shit. So I just like college, which was great, because college was like, all right, it's time to just get high every day and do absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
It was perfect because I could just like go in and just like barely just coast and get a C on every test that I didn't study for, never went to class, and just like, all right, give me my diplomas.
I agree. I mean, like
it prepped us.
I did drop out of college, but the part that I was present for, I did well without, like really straining myself.
It was like going back to junior high for me. Seriously. It was seriously like junior high all over. I was like, I feel like Billy Madison, dude. Oh, you don't know Billy Madison.
Damn. I actually don't.
You gotta watch Billy Madison.
What is that, a new thing or an old
thing?
I feel like it's an old
We talked about it last week briefly. It was the Adam Sandler movie. Old school.
Oh, okay.
Adam Sandler movie.
I actually was thinking about that earlier today. I was like, there was some Adam Sandler movie that I was supposed to, look at, but I didn't bother.
Yeah.
It's Billy Madison.
You'll get around to it. Yeah, but I think that's nice and cozy around an hour. Oh, we're going a little past an hour today. A little extra content for you guys. Guys, thank you very much for watching. We'll be back next week. Toss a like on this video if you're watching on YouTube, or rate us if you happen to be listening to us on whatever podcast platform that you happen to be checking out. We need the ratings, guys. We need the ratings do help, because otherwise there's no way for people to discover the podcast.
How do you discover this podcast?
You discover it by, usually you go to category, you search, a general idea category, and then it's like all ratings. It's a rating system. Whoever's rated the highest, who has the most ratings, gets to the top of the search queue. It's just standard SEO shit.
Okay.
So if you guys want to rate us, that would be fucking awesome.
Is there anything we can commit to get more ratings? Like, can we promise to be more awesome or talk about cooler things?
I don't know if we can get more awesome. Is that even? We have to be realistic about this.
I mean, we're crushing it, but clearly, like,
I remember
crush it harder.
I remember, like, Paul and I would always, like, the carrot on the string that Paul and I would always have for Awesome Hardware was we would do a baby oil challenge where we would just like be in we'd have a baby oil fight. It'd be like a mud wrestling, but in like a big vat of baby oil. And we pushed that so hard, and people were so hopeful that it would happen one day, and we just led everyone on.
You know what?
It was great.
It could still happen. I'll be the referee.
Oh, no, you got to get on the action, dude. You can't just be there with a whistle. You can't just be whistling the whole time.
I mean,
you, Paul.
I come prepared. I have a whistle.
In a giant child's inflatable pool full of baby oil, Johnson & Johnson.
No more tears.
Rate this episode, dude. It's time to rate the episode. It's time. If you want this to be a reality, rate us now. Guys, thank you for watching.
We appreciate it.
We appreciate you.
If you have any more pro pest control tips, please drop them in the comments. I would like personally to read them.
I think Ian's pest control tips, or it's a pending title, but I think that should be a recurring series on the show. Just my 2 cents.
There's only so many pests.
There's only so many. Well, there's a lot.
There are a lot of pests. You're right.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up. We love you guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Let's make like a Pantry Moth and wrap it up, dude. See you guys next week.
Later.